with Sonic Racing Cross Worlds only about like 2 weeks away, I thought now would be the best time to kind of look at the current roster and think who is getting added into this game. Obviously there's a lot, right? I mean, this game has been huge so far. So here are my picks for Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. Starting with the Sonic characters, let's start with probably the oldest ones here, which is Mighty and Ray. I know these are two, but I feel like if you're going to do one, you're going to have to do the other. They're practically a duo, they're inseparable, and obviously this would be a bit more of an obscure pick as far as characters go, but I love them ever since I saw them first in Sonic Mania Plus. I've just loved these guys. I think they're such fun designs and they're so charming. I think they can give them so much personality in Cross Worlds if they give them voices. Like, so much fun stuff you can do there. Mighty and Ray are my first picks, which then leads me to my second one, which is a far more recent character, Trip. We do have a Sonic Superstar stage in this game. We've seen it, and it's a good stage, but I really want them to put in Trip. She could be similar to Sage in a way where she has two skins, one of her with the helmet on and one with her without it, to kind of allow for more skin picks, but also just because I think that would be fun. Maybe she can even have one where she's in her dragon form. I don't know. They could do all sorts of stuff with Trip, but Trip is a more recent character, and I want to see her get some love. Some well-deserved love at that. Next is a villain. I chose Mephiles. I'm not the biggest 06 fan, nor am I the biggest Mephiles fan, but I think as far as villains go, Mephiles is a pretty good one, and an easier one to do at that. He was in Shadow Generations, he had Old Boss Fight, and I thought that was fun, but I think he's just a character that I think a lot of fans would also really be happy to see, just because he's just Shadow, but if he was edgier. And along with Mephiles, I'm gonna say another character that showed up in Shadow Generations, which is Black Doom. I really want him in the game, just because I think it'd be funny to see him on, like, Extreme Gear. That big demon dude, like, that would be really funny. And Maria, while we're at it, throw in Maria and Gerald. I think those would also be fun. I shouldn't need to explain those. Another duo of characters, I have a lot of duos here. Tikal and Chaos. I think those two obviously could work very well. But, you know, I guess the thing about Tikal is, how would they do Tikal? A lot of people are like, oh, well, they would just do her Echidna form. What are you talking about? Well, there's also the tutorial Red Orb in Sonic Adventure. So it'd be really funny if you're playing the game and you get a Tikal and she's just a floating red orb that just kind of speaks.
Lightspeed Dash lets you race toward rings at light speed.
Chaos is a fan favorite. I shouldn't need to explain why Chaos should be here. It's Chaos. That's, like, obvious. Orbot and Cubot. Kind of surprised they're not already in the game, considering they're some of Eggman's most popular sidekick robots. I understand why they picked Metal Sonic and Sage and all that, but like an Eggpon's so much weirder compared to Orbot and Cubot, who are like right there. I don't know. I think it's weird that they're not playable in this game. This really seemed like an opportunity to make them playable, especially over Zaz and Zavok. And then my final ones, these are probably the most requested characters, which are Whisper and Tangle from the IDW comics, of course. Everybody wants these characters. Everybody wants IDW characters. Might as well throw in Surge. I didn't include Surge because I know in Japan they're not fully caught up to the Imposter Syndrome arc, so they don't know about Surge fully. So I can understand why they wouldn't do Surge, but throw Surge in just to be safe. Whisper, Tangle, and Surge. Just the IDW characters, maybe Lanolin too, like just all the IDW originals, put them in the game. That would be so much fun. They're fan favorites. I personally love Whisper and Tangle, especially Tangle. Love Tangle. Would love to play as Tangle in the Sonic game. Outside of the crappy Roblox and Sonic Dash games, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. To actually finally be able to play as these characters. And I think you could do all sorts of fun stuff with their tricks, you know. I mean, Whisper is practically built for this game because they're using Wisp items. That's like her thing. But on top of that, Tangle could have all sorts of fun tricks with their tail. I mean, so could Surge. I mean, the rival interactions, I know they are not doing that for DLC, but like, I mean, they could be in the game secretly and we would never know. Oh, I don't know. Either way. But those are characters I want to see in the game. Okay, So while I was editing this, some new info came out. We had IDW reveal that they were making a Sonic Racing Cross Worlds comic, which, you know, would normally be a huge deal, but on one of the covers where they're recreating the Sonic Drift box art, which is cute, you can see Tangle right there. She's probably in the game now. I don't really know what you need. I mean, I just wanted to put this here because this happened while I was making the video. Yeah. Which then leads me on to the next segment, which are the Sega characters. So, starting off with the Sega characters. Ai from Super Monkey Ball. He's been in all the other Sonic racing games. They always cross over. Sonic's in the Super Monkey Ball games. He's been in like the last 3 ones that they've made. It's a no-brainer. I would be surprised if Ai isn't here. Obviously, they probably use this new design from Banana Mania, I believe it is. They would use that design considering, yeah, he got a redesign. And if they want to be silly, maybe they'll have a skin of the old design. I doubt it. I don't think they're doing many skins. Beat Jet Set Radio. We're getting a new Jet Set Radio. They announced that like a year or 2 ago. Very excited for that. They'll probably use the redesign just like they did with Super Monkey Ball. Put them in. Give them an extreme gear, right? Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I don't really know what I need to say. Include graffiti that you can put on your vehicles. That would be awesome. So, yeah. Next character. This one is one that got leaked, but it was Knights. If you know about Knights, you've probably seen them in the other Sonic racing games. They're a Sonic Team character. They were also made by Yuji Naka. Pretty popular. Probably put them in, considering that they're always here. They were on the back of the box art, so I think it's a sure bet that they're in the game. These 2 next ones are going to be like kind of more like vague concepts. I'm thinking we're either going to get another Atlas Persona Shin Megami Tensei character and another RGG Yakuza Like a Dragon character, one of those. I don't know who, I don't play a lot of those games, but I feel like that's probably what we're going to get, and then probably 1 or 2 Sonic characters. So I think there's going to be like 4 slots taken up by those series, just because I think those are relatively the most popular ones. Next one, Joe Hisashi from Shinobi. That game just came out. I would assume they'd want to promote it. Eggman's in there. It's also one of the first of this new Sega thing that they're doing, where they're making a bunch of new games that was announced with the Jet Set Radio that I had mentioned earlier. So it would make sense that they would want to put one of those characters in. Next, I have the Virtua Fighter rep, a Virtua Fighter rep in general. I don't really play those games. I've never played them, so I'm very not well known to these characters. I think one of them was in Smash Bros. He had an assist trophy, I believe. I think that dude's kind of like the face. I'm assuming they'll go with a Virtua Fighter rep. Next, Uwawa from Space Channel 5. Another game I haven't really played. I've been meaning to, but it seems cool. I like her character. She seems fun and upbeat. I would like to see her in. I think she's also a character that's been in like most of the Sonic racing games. Like she was in Riders, so. And then finally, for the Sega characters, a Puyo Puyo rep. I don't play Puyo Puyo. I don't know the characters from the game. I know the game has characters. I don't know if that would be like the little slimes that you stack up, or if they would go with like a real character from the game. But it's probably someone from there. I think that should be one, because Puyo Puyo is really popular, and it would be smart to reference that in Sonic Racing. Now we're on the crossover characters. I'm going to do 2 things with these characters really quick. I'm going to list who I believe will be in the Avatar Pass, because we don't know who's in the next 2 passes, but Ninja Turtles is pretty obvious. It's just going to be the Turtles. Like, I feel like that's obvious. So I'm going to list who I think is going to be an Avatar, and I think that's going to be Aang and Zuko, and if not Zuko, Korra. Just because, I mean, Zuko is obviously the fan favorite, but also Korra is the second avatar, so if they just want to go with 2 avatars, then, like, that would make sense. Which now brings me on to the last slot of the DLC packs. And this is the biggest one, I think, because so far we have just had complete icons on this list so far. We have had SpongeBob, Minecraft, Pac-Man, Ninja Turtles, all these massive characters. And this brings us to our last one, which is who it's going to be. It has to be someone huge. And I have 2 options here that I'm going to list. DC. With the recent comic book and other merchandise they've made with the crossover that they did this past year, it would make sense that this is what it's all been building up to. With Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman joining Sonic and racing across worlds or something like that. It would also make a little kid me really happy if, like, we get a Batmobile and I get to put, like, Shadow in it. That would be awesome. And with each DLC pass having a course, you know, that would mean that the DC one would have to come with one, which makes me believe that it would be a race course around the wider DC universe. Obviously, you would race through the cities of each hero, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, starting with Metropolis, and then going to Themyscira, and then ending with Gotham City. I think it would be a fun track, and also it leads to a lot of creativity and variety with the way that each area would look. This leads me to my next pick, which I believe is just as far-fetched as my last one, but it kind of makes sense whenever you see who makes the video games, which that is Demon Slayer. I know it sounds a little crazy, but with the movie coming out, actually just coming out, it's out by the time I'm recording this, it would make sense that they would do it, especially whenever you realize that Sega is the publisher and owns the video game rights to Demon Slayer. It makes a lot more sense once you realize these things about the series. Obviously, this would mean Tanjiro and Nezuko would be the characters. Obviously, I feel like that makes sense. And that would also mean that the racetrack would, in my opinion, I think it would be the Infinity Castle. It makes sense. It's the most creative location in Demon Slayer that stands out, but also it's where the movie is taking place, and the doors kind of work as cross-world portals, so that would also just be a very easy thing for them to do when it comes to a racetrack. For vehicles, I genuinely have no idea what they would include. I genuinely don't know. I don't know. Would it be like a big crow as like an extreme gear? Maybe. I don't know. Okay, I was done with this video, and then a leak came out for the final pack of the DLC, and it's freaking Mega Man. That's really cool. I like Mega Man. I guess I'll think about who I want. So obviously Mega Man, but I guess the question then becomes who's the other guy? Who's the other one? They could either put in Roll, they could put in, you know, Proto Man, Bass, you know, maybe Dr. Wily, or maybe it'll be like one of the Robot Masters. I don't know. That would be really cool. For stage, I think they would go with like Wily Castle. I think that's the stage they'd go for. You know, they like Mega Man 2. Yeah, I'll go for Wily Castle, and then for like the vehicle they'd probably use like Rush as in like a form of Extreme Gear maybe? Or maybe him as a car? I don't know. I think they would go Rush Extreme Gear though. Because he does that at like Mega Man 4. Like he literally just does that, so yeah. That's everything. Now I'm really done. Whoop-de-doo. So, those are my predictions, wish lists for characters that I think will join this game. Let me know yours in the comments below. I'll also be making a ton of videos on this game. I've already have 2 on the open network test that happened a few weeks ago, so you can go watch those right here. Make sure to like and subscribe for more videos on this game and whatever other Sonic stuff comes out in the coming months, years. Yeah, see ya.